The latest installment in the Marvel pantheon, Spider-Man No Way Home, has finally hit theaters, complete with an ending that's quite certain to resound across the MCU. The film crams a lot into its 2.5-hour running time, rewarding not just one, but 3 Peter Parkers. If you've watched all the previous Spider-Man movies recently, congratulations! You're going to understand everything that happens in the latest Spider-Man extravaganza. But even if you haven't, or even if you aren't a full-on Marvel fan, you'll surely appreciate this one. The film was incredible, to say the least, and every piece of the story, the timeline, the universes, the aesthetics, the CGI, and the cinematography were all weaved together into an immaculately glorious spectacle. Spider-Man No Way Home has a twist ending that you probably didn't see coming, and it's a big one in terms of setting things up for the MCU's future and seeing the next stage in Peter Parker's journey. So, what does No Way Home's ending mean for the future of Spider-Man and the MCU? Who are all these people showing up in the latest Spidey flick? In today's video, let's dive into every big question you might have after that Spider-Man bonanza. But before anything else, a major warning. This video will contain lots of spoilers. And if you haven't yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell first for more updates like this. Now, let's jump right in. First, what's happening in the ending? The 3 Peters adopt numbers, but for the sake of clarity, we're just going to use the actors' names. Tom Holland is joined by Tobey Maguire, who faced William Dafoe as Norman Osborn or the Green Goblin in 2002 Spider-Man. Alfred Molina as Dr. Otto Octavius, Dr. Octopus in 2004's Spider-Man 2, and Thomas Hayden Church as Flint Marko or the Sandman in 2007 Spider-Man 3. The third member of the web-slinging crew is Andrew Garfield, who faced Riz Lafon as the Lizard in 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man, followed by Jamie Foxx as Electro in 2014's Amazing Spider-Man 2. With Aunt May dead and the Dangerous Five on the loose, the Peter Parkers create a series of serums that will turn the terrible folks back into their human selves. They challenge Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, Lizard, and Sandman to a fight on the Statue of Liberty. And if the 3 Spider-Mans swing into action together, we don't know what else to tell you. What happens to the villains when they return to their universes? Instead, Spider-Man, with the support of Maguire and Garfield's versions of Peter Parker, chose to aid in the treatment of the adversaries. Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Lizard, Electro, and Sandman were all fully restored to their pre-experimental selves and returned to their own universes with a clean slate. It's possible that they'll pick up where they left off or take a different route. They were not only crewed, but a few were offered a second chance at life after dying in their films. Dr. Octo Octavius could continue his study, Norman Osborn could return to Oscorp and reorganize things, and Electro might finally accept that he isn't a nobody at all, but rather somebody with a lot of potential. Sandman will hopefully be reunited with his daughter, and Dr. Connors will be free to continue his studies without having to experiment on himself. What the ending really means for Tom's journey. Spidey ultimately steps out of the shadows of Tony Stark and other adult mentors in the finale, taking responsibility for his actions and decisions. Spider-Man No Way Home finishes one chapter and begins a new one by returning Peter to his superhero roots and beginning anew. It's more of a new beginning than an ending, and it's also a reflection of Tom Holland's Spider-Man journey. What happens to Spider-Man, Maguire, and Garfield? Maguire and Garfield's Spider-Man support Peter in defeating his foes, learning to work as a team and empathize with one another's emotional distress. After the conflict, they return to their homeworlds to resume their lives before the multiverse split wide. Garfield's Spider-Man had a huge and meaningful redeeming moment in Spider-Man No Way Home when he saves MJ, making up for the fact that he couldn't save Gwen in his universe. Peter Parker of The Amazing Spider-Man returns to his universe as a little more hopeful than previously, given his current situation. Maguire's Peter isn't given as much, however. It's presumed that when he returns, he'll be reunited with his MJ. When they return to their reality, his meeting with Doc Ock, who is no longer out to kill him, could mean they'll reconcile and work together. Before Doctor Strange casts the spell that would forever transform Peter Parker's life, Peter has the opportunity to say farewell to the Spider mentors who have helped him save his planet and accept the weight of heroism. It's a heartbreaking moment for 3 characters who have spent so little time together. They may not know each other well, but they know something about each other that no one else in the multiverse, no matter how close, will ever know. They've all been thrown into the same bizarre superhero existence, one they didn't ask for, and have been compelled to take that role seriously as a result of enormous loss. They've all made the decision to be good. It's difficult to see the other Peter Parkers leave, especially knowing what's in store for our Peter Parker, but these three Peter Parkers have each other in this brief goodbye moment. Here's what Doctor Strange's Peter Parker spell does to the MCU timeline. The ending of the latest Spider-Man rewrites the villains' histories in their separate flicks, therefore affecting the past and the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Avengers' past with Peter Parker is reshaped now that no one remembers him at all. No one will remember him assassinating Thanos or fighting alongside Iron Man against Captain America in Captain America Civil War. Peter is wiped from the timeline, altering how all other superheroes, even those in Avengers Endgame, remember events in the past. The spell also rewrites Peter's origin tale as Spider-Man to some extent, without Tony Stark's money and gadgets. Spider-Man's timeline is reset. Importantly, the spell has an impact on Peter's position in the MCU's future, with the multiverse potentially affecting all future occurrences and generating several timelines. Nothing will ever be the same again, that's for sure. Peter chooses not to tell MJ and Ned the truth. Our hero has the opportunity to say farewell before Doctor Strange casts the spell that will make everyone forget Peter, and takes it, warning both MJ and Ned that they're about to forget him. A devastated MJ makes Peter swear that she'll track him down and remind her who he is. And Peter appears to plan to follow through on that vow. In a later scene, though, we see him approaching the cafe where MJ works, replaying what he'll say to explain the matter to MJ, but changing his mind when noticing the Band-Aid on MJ's forehead. Peter gets a glimpse of what their life looks like without them, perhaps safer and without the weight of the world and/or multiverse on their shoulders. Peter makes the decision to leave their lives at that point. Will Doctor Strange remember Peter? While the purpose of Doctor Strange's movie-ending spell was to ensure that no one remembered Peter, it appears that the caster is immune to those effects. But we know nothing about the MCU's magic, to be honest. While there's nothing in No Way Home to suggest Stephen will remember Peter, stranger things have happened, and with the Doctor Strange sequel on the horizon, and Stephen dabbling with multiversal craziness in the film, who knows what type of long-forgotten memories he'll bring up by the end. Peter Parker becomes our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Because almost everyone Peter has ever known has forgotten who he is no longer an Avenger, when the fate of the universe is at risk, he'll no longer be called upon to join forces with the Earth's mightiest heroes. Instead, he is a humble, local superhero who can concentrate on his home city and borough, which is something we haven't seen much of in the MCU's Spider-Man. We witness Peter heading out of his apartment window in the last moments of the film, dressed in a classic homemade outfit, likely inspired by the conventional Spidey costumes he saw the other Spideys wearing. We can all agree that was a sad ending, but given the surprises MCU always gives us, we can only hope that this isn't the end yet for Spider-Man's MCU journey. Well, that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and smash that notification bell for more episodes.